Here we are with Mayor Vince at the Whangarei District Council, who presided over and used his 2 casting votes to come down on the side of the people. Highly commendable. We'll speak about that at the moment. Fireworks left, right and centre, but measured fireworks, of course. People getting ejected from the chamber for breach of standing orders. And the Mayor, of course, trying to keep everything going along smoothly as they discuss something very important like fluoridisation of the city's water supply and the threats they're facing from the Director General of Health, that if they do not comply, they are going to be fined. And of course, speculation runs wild as to whether they're going to be personally held liable in a financial capacity, whether they're going to go to jail. But despite all the threats, the Mayor, Vince, and his team on his side of the fence is holding firm. Mayor, thank you very much for coming down on the side of the people. And can you just give us a quick overview of what actually happened in Chambers today?
Yeah, look, appreciate that. Thanks for involving me here in this discussion. Probably the biggest thing we had to discuss was about the fluoridation. So the first thing was we accepted the information that has been provided. The next thing we then said, okay, we need clarification over the safety. Because one of the things within the Acts, and I read the Acts very, very clearly, and as they talk about things, they clearly state that under Section 116, the Director General of Health is the only one to dictate to what is actually going to happen for fluoridation. Under Section 23 of the Health Act, under Section 2, 20 and 21 of the Water Services Act, it clearly states that the local authority, at the end of the day, is ultimately responsible for the safety of the water.
So if the Director General says, right, Council, fluoridate these people, and someone who's affected dies from it, they can come after you because you're the one who's ultimately responsible. So there's actually laws protecting you because you and your decision has come down on the defence of people, saving harm, because let's face it, if they're all about safety and health, that is... you're coming to the defence of people who cannot defend themselves otherwise.
And that is correct. So as we've already discussed and already explained, that there are many people within the country who suffer from disabilities, for example, like being allergic to nuts or being allergic to seafood. So you can't just turn around and put a whole pile of nuts in front of someone who's allergic to nuts because they'll have allergic reactions.
Unless you didn't like them.
Unless you didn't like them. The same thing applies for fluoride. There is a percentage of people. Now, this is where the law comes in. We need very clear direction that those people who have an issue with fluoride are not affected. And that's the issue that we actually have. And that's why we're asking for that safety side of it. The next part is we're then turning around and saying, well, Director General of Health, you have told us that this is going to happen. What we need is we need to know the clarity of what jurisdiction you have. Yes, it's in the Health Act. However, in the Local Government Act, the councillors, the elected bodies, are there to represent the people.
That's right.
So how do we make sure that their voice is clearly heard? So which act then overrides which? And again, that is why we need those legal aspects clarified. The last part is we've asked for an interim
injunction?
Well, no, I don't think we can use the word injunction. I think it's basically a term of so we can't get prosecuted.
Deferral.
Yeah, so we can't get prosecuted while the court case is taking place, and that's probably the big thing for us in Whangarei.
A stay of execution.
A stay of execution, absolutely. The big thing, no one wants to actually have to go to court. No one wants to actually spend money on this type of thing. However, we're in a situation where we need to get answers to be fair in our role as elected members so that we've got very clear decision-making processes. If you start blurring the lines and you start saying, oh, this law overrides this, without it going to a court of law, you can then be held accountable for taking assumptions. Just like some elected members made the assumption that we are liable from the decision we made today. We're not liable. We have broken no laws. And that is a very important aspect. So while the Director General of Health can threaten or can make indications that this is what is going to happen, as we've broken no laws and made no intention of breaking laws, we're not liable.
And you make a very good point there, because you represent the common will of the people.
Yeah.
And you take it into your chambers, just like a politician will take it into Parliament. And it's their job to facilitate and not dictate the people of this country.
Yeah.
Where we have a problem is where they make political appointees like the Director General of Health. We don't elect them, so they're not following our will. They give you a direction that violates the when in doubt, don't rule. That is the biggest thing that needs to, common sense, logic and reason backs that to the hilt. If you're wary of something and you're in doubt, don't do it.
Yeah. Do be well aware the Director General of Health is a trained health professional. So that is one of the aspects of being the Director General of Health.
These are the same people who brought us the jab that's killing people and causing carnage. These people, and they're trained professionals.
Do be well aware that, as I've always said, doctors are practicing. And they are working through their system to make sure, because I've had situations in my life where they've tried this drug on me, didn't work, tried this drug on me, it didn't work. So for them to work out what was actually wrong. Now, as it is, I had mercury poisoning. So these are sort of things.
Because mercury was safe and effective once too.
Mercury was safe and effective once, so was lead, so was asbestos.
So it was formaldehyde that was getting birth defects that they finally admitted later once most of you are dead.
Yeah, so the most important thing is, as all of these things change in life, that's why we're needing the direction, very clear court direction, to understand what is actually safe when it comes to the fluoride.
That's a pivotal moment because, and I think you're right, it needs to go to the Supreme Court because there's a hell of a lot of laws that back you, and you've basically got one that backs them. Sheer weight surely should just tip the scale.
Look, I think the most important thing we need to realise is people are put into positions and they to run those positions. Now, you wouldn't have someone who is sits behind a desk being the person who decides on what roads need to go. You want someone who's actually got experience at working on roads and knowing how roads are placed and how to build roads, actually being the one saying, okay, we need to put roads in this area. It's the same thing applies for health. You've got a Director General of Health. Their purpose is to make sure things are safe and healthy. The concern is, because there is new information coming about, especially from other countries around the world, our Whangarei residents are saying, we're unsure. We need clarity so that we can be comfortable that what's happening today is not going to affect us tomorrow. Because it's very clear in the Act that even if there is a slight chance later on in life, as the local authority, we are liable.
Exactly. Now, I'll just go back to your people putting these, experts and that sort of thing, because it's quite often that you have your book smart experts and your qualified experts and the ones who actually know what they're doing. You got people who are qualified, who know how to build roads because they've been doing all of their lives. They know the nuances. They know if a bank's going to fall down in a couple of years and everything. Yet the engineers who are from the books and have only had a couple of field days training, we're getting all this crap all over the place. Brenduin's a typical example. They should have pushed that thing right back to start with. I mean, that was common sense. Even we thought that when we were younger.
It's all about budgets as well. Because remember, costs have also increased. Now,
That's only because of the borrowing.
okay.
And that's why you have to rate people out of existence to pay the debt. And the debt is the interest on the loans, as we know. And that's not created at the time of the loan or at any time in the future. So there's an instant net deficit in the economy, compounding, growing. So you're always going to get in the crap that way.
So, and I can talk about that because Whangarei is in a completely different situation to most other districts around the country. So as developments have happened, we've been putting money aside specifically for water and sewage. We have a brand new water treatment plant. We're doing work to our sewage treatment plants that we've got around the district. So we are in a very different situation, and we've got credit in the bank. So when the government proposed the three waters, we were saying, wait up, we're a district which has actually been doing things right, and we're getting penalised. So the same thing happens here. This council has actually always done things right and always done things according to the law. So when it comes to situations like this, we're saying, wait up, we need clarity to make sure this is actually safe, because we also know that the chemical of fluoride that it's derived from is actually unsafe to handle. And there's a whole pile of safety precautions that those who are handling the drug need to do. So we need to make sure that for our residents that it's also safe for them.
Which it clearly is not. And the science is now. Well, you see, this is the thing I do not get about the scientific argument crap. Because everyone goes, oh no, because now we realise that it's poison. It's always been poison. It's just that you were slow at, not you, but these people were just slow at realising that. And half the time it's, as I've said before, and I've said it in the previous interviews, and I've said it countless times on countless media and that, is that it's usually science is the best money can buy. And it depends on who it's pocketed lines as to what's going to be pushed down your throat.
Yeah, look, I can't comment on that. Look, I'm
I know you can't. You've got to be a mayor and be decorum.
but
I can. I can rip the crap out of them.
Yeah, from my side of things, as someone who has been through the medical system and has had situations happen to me, it is a lot of the time it is trying to work out what's actually wrong with the person, because a lot of times people don't know. And it could be something that they're working in. For example, they might be a welder and they might have got some metal filings in them or something like that, which then has affected them because it's actually caused blood poisoning. It does happen. Yeah. And it could happen because of someone doing something silly. So it's about trying to make sure that we get the right things happening. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and making sure all sides are put in front of people instead of just the gatekeeper stuff.
Absolutely. As I said, making sure democracy is heard properly.
Yeah, and that's very commendable. Mayor Vince, thank you very much for coming down and using your 2 casting votes, because it's a bit of a knife edge, let's face it, and it got technical at the end there. You were able to clarify with people what it actually meant, because that could have gone south if they voted the wrong way. But you handled that like a champ, and I hope you continue to be the mayor, and anyone else who came down on the side of the mayor, make sure they returned. Anyone else, get rid of the clowns. You don't need them. I know he can't say that, but I'll say it for him. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Not
Appreciate
a problem. Happy to come.
Cheers.